Good evening. Thank you. And now we'll have a little sing-along. I'm really glad that you all are here tonight for this pretty important debate. You know, this is for the sheriff of the county for the next 4 years. And both of these candidates ought to have an opportunity to say what they want to do, what they don't want to do, all that kind of thing. And they should, answer your questions. My name is Debbie Lowe, and I'm a writer with the Carroll County Comet. I want to thank the Delphi Community School Corporation for letting us use the little theater. This is a wonderful venue for us. We've held many debates, and this is the best one ever. So we like that very much. I want to introduce the candidates. Tony Liggett. Yes. And you can tell we're very formal here. Very formal. Yes, I'm wearing my Socrates. Well, at the primary debate, my feet got really sore, and so I said I was wearing something. And then Tony is the first deputy at the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, and then we have Mark Baker. Mark is the challenger, and he is with the Lafayette Police Department for a couple decades, I think. Yes, and he'll tell you about it. Housekeeping. Candidates will have up to 5 minutes for an introduction, and I'm really not running much of a clock. I want you guys to be able to say what you need to say, and then we'll start with questions. I will begin the questions, but I want you all to feel free to come and ask questions. We have 2 microphones and Mike, and you can ask. You can, just come and ask your questions if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you want me to ask them, pass a note down. I just got a note just a few minutes ago. So the candidates will have up to 5 minutes for intro. I'll ask questions. There will be rebuttals. I'll say, Tony, blah, 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 and Mark will have a chance to say what he thinks about that. And then we'll have up to 5 minutes for closing. We put aside 3 hours for this. I know, what was I thinking? But I want everybody to be able to fully express what they want, what they need, and let the candidates express as well. So that's why we did that. If we get it done early, that's fine. And we are videoing the debate, and it will be on my YouTube channel, which is cleverly named the Debbie Lowe channel on YouTube. And so, and I'll probably put that up tomorrow. So, with that, you want to come down, you guys? Do you all want to choose who goes first?
I went last time.
Okay.
Sure, that'll work.
Okay. Does that okay? Turn your microphones on, maybe.
It's good to see everybody here tonight. Thanks to the comment, Debbie Lowe, for doing this. My name, as she said, is Tony Liggett. I'm the Chief Deputy of the Sheriff's Department, but my primary title is actually detective. Due to staffing levels, I still primarily do investigations. I've been involved with law enforcement since 2001, and I moved to Delphi when I was 8 years old, so I've been here 42 years. I graduated from Delphi in 1990. My wife, Catherine, and I have lived in Cutler for the last 16 years. Catherine is a registered nurse at Franciscan Hospital. Together we have 1 daughter and 3 sons. I have a business management degree, and I owned a small business in Lafayette prior to getting into law. I consider myself a workhorse and lead by example. If something needs done, people come to me. I will continue that work ethic as sheriff. I am dedicated to my work and won't ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. As a small agency, I believe the sheriff should be a working sheriff, which means if there's calls and things that need to be done, the sheriff should go out and assist the deputies with doing that. I'm community service minded with strong morals and ethics. Integrity, professionalism, and accountability are the keys to making Carroll County Sheriff's Office a great place. As a sheriff and deputy, we take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and Indiana. This is an oath I take very seriously. I'm a firm believer in individual rights and property rights. As I said, I've been in law enforcement for 21 plus years. I started, all those years have been in Carroll County. I started my law enforcement career as a reserve deputy, as the guy that puts on the uniform and goes out and does this for free. That quickly turned into a full-time jail position, and then I was hired very quickly after that as a full-time officer in Florida in 2002. As a matter of fact, I think I replaced you. In 2004, I came back to the Sheriff's Department as a full-time deputy. I pride myself on continuing education and training. As a small agency, there's 13 of us, including the sheriff, and we need to keep highly trained officers here to be self-sufficient. Part of that self-sufficiency is doing in-house training. I'm one of only 2 Indiana Law Enforcement Academy certified instructors at the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office has grown in a very positive way since 2001. One of the best things it has offered is training. I can't think of an instance where someone's asked to go to a training and they were told no. If they were told no, there's a staffing issue, can you get in the next class? Many people take advantage of those opportunities to grow and have a positive influence on our agency. This has a big impact on the efficiency and the future of the Sheriff's Office. Some of the highlights in my career are, I'm an Academy certified instructor, and as far as I know, the only traffic crash reconstructionist that's ever been in Carroll County. I'm a part of the high-tech crimes unit, basically a forensic examiner of phones, laptops, things like that. I'm the training coordinator for the Sheriff's Office, the taser instructor, major crimes investigations, homicide investigation training, interview and interrogation, behavior analysis. I was a dual-purpose canine handler, a drug recognition expert, excelled at drug interdiction. I was a reserve program coordinator, attended leadership in Carroll County in 2013. Other duties that I have is I'm on the child protection team for Carroll County. I'm on the MDT team, which is a multidisciplinary team. It's a multifaceted approach to juvenile investigation. I'm on the Child Fatality Review Board, Carroll Fire Department, the Fraternal Order of Police, Delphi Lions Club, and a former member of the Delphi JCs when it was in existence. The Happy Libby investigation has always been a top priority for me. It will continue to be when I'm sheriff. There are multiple investigators that work on this case every day, still to this day, including today. We all want to solve this horrible event. We need to make it a priority to retain staff that we have. We're currently short 2 deputies. We are having a hiring process with that right now. We were short 3, and just this summer we hired 1 to replace Kevin Emmett from October 2021. We normally we're full staff for the jail is 7 jail officers. We're kind of at a critical point. We just lost 3 of those. If we can't figure out how to pay people to stay, those people left for pay reasons. They went to farming. One of them went into farming to make more money. Another one went to Cass County to be an EMT for more money. And the other one switched over to dispatch on a partial money issue, but it was easier to deal with less people in the jail and not have to deal with it in dispatch. If we continue to lose jailers, one of the primary duties of the sheriff's office is the jail. We will have to pull road officers off the road to work at the jail. We have to get that figured out. And even, as far as that goes, even when we do get these people hired, it's not immediate. They're not going to have any kind of immediate impact. There's a lot of training that goes into both road deputies and jail officers, so there's no immediate impact. We have great training opportunities working in Carroll County. Excuse me, I said that part already. One of the many ways to help keep everyone accountable is to have body cameras. I would really like to see us having body cameras. There are many instances where people make accusations towards an officer or vice versa, and it will remove the he said, she said from those accusations. You'll see it on video. Some of the biggest problems in Carroll County with crime stem from drugs and alcohol. I really would like to partner up with outside agencies such as Valley Oaks or NAMI and other places like that to get people, to help people that turn to drugs and alcohol for mental illness. It's just a fact of life, and those people with mental illness should not be viewed in a negative way. We currently have our jail contracts out for medical, and we have mental health people with that, but to me it seems like it's more of just a medication thing. People are in jail, let's medicate them, make their behavior fine while they're in jail, but it doesn't help get to the root cause of the problem. We have a community corrections program in Carroll County, and I would like to kind of partner with them. I've talked to several people. They have a mental health aspect, and I would like to see about getting those people that they deal with in the jail so that, excuse me, my mouth's getting pretty dry. I would like to get those mental health professionals working with the people in the jail before they even get to the community corrections side of it. Other things I would like to do is get Carroll County involved with the drug task force. Information gained from the drug task force can more easily direct officers to problem areas where drugs are being used or sold. We currently have 2 dual-purpose canines, and they do a great job. However, due to staffing and officer safety issues, they don't get to be used as much as I would like. The new jail appears to be going to happen. Anything could happen. Things could change, but it seems to be on the right track to do the new jail. They just had a meeting the other day and set up a build committee. So things appear to be progressing with that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Bickard, and I'm your independent candidate for sheriff. To raise some concerns that have been brought about why I chose independent candidacy. I chose independent candidacy because I'm in the middle. I'm with everyone else in this county more than I do. Far left or far right, I'm right in the middle where we all are. And whenever I chose to run like that, it afforded itself great possibilities for me. It afforded me the possibility to meet some great friends, have some great support, and have fun along the way. Tonight, it's fun along the way. This is just another day of fun. Thank you, Debbie, for having us.
I do my best.
Susan, for the comment, and also the staff here at the school for allowing us to be here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself for those that don't know me. I think everyone here probably does because I see about everyone that I do know. My family has been in this county for over 90 years. My mother's family in 1929 and so. She's in the crowd. Can't hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So, my mom's in the crowd. Her family has been in here since 1929. She graduated from this very school. My dad's family, a little bit later, but still, both working families, both were here in this community. My grandma and grandpa Buddis were farmers. My dad's family worked in industry and made a way for their family to stay here the rest of their lives. My mom, have you ever been on a plane in your life? Once? Okay. She's been in Carroll County her whole life. I have, except for vacations and training, laid my head in Carroll County every day of my life. I'm here for everyone in this room that's from Carroll County and beyond. Because I've lived here, I've also chosen to work in another agency that has afforded me great opportunities. When I became a police officer in 1994, I was also a reserve officer in Florida for a short time. Sorry. I really don't want to use the mic. Can anybody hear me without the mic? So, I also became a reserve officer and didn't get paid, but had a lot of fun. Larry Tull hired me as a full-time officer, and that's when my career began. I did that in Florida for 8 years, and then I went to the Lafayette Police Department in 2002, where I quickly moved up to the rank of detective in 2008, and that's where I've stayed. So in all, 28 years of law enforcement is what I have to offer. Of those 28 years, the last 20 have been at a very, very modern and busy department. Tony, do you know what your case numbers are up to today?
500 actual incident.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area.
We have investigated over 12,000 cases in the Lafayette Police Department. Now, not every single one of those go to the detectives, but my fair share of them get there, as do a number of us. A little bit about me professionally. I'm a nationally accredited polygrapher. Been one since 2016. I'm also a certified lead homicide investigator. Several years ago, I was able to get to that class, and I did so because it was an important factor in investigating homicides to learn and to do them correctly and to have the manpower allocation that you need, when you need it, how you need it, and know how to do that. That's what I learned. I have been on just about every homicide we've had since 2008. And that's several. We've had 3 this year. 2 of them was a double, and mine was the double. And I was lead investigator on that. And I'm also a current field training officer, and we've had at least 100 recruits that I've trained, probably more. Our force is up to about 35 now. And our badge numbers don't recycle, so my original badge number in 2002 when I went was 328, and I believe we are up to right at 500 now. So my plans are to bring a new vision and a proactive police force to this county. It's much needed because if proactivity does not occur, the other agencies that surround us here are pushing the criminal element here. We need to take a hold of it and get in control of it. I know what it looks like when those criminal elements come to town. I don't want them here because I see what they do to our department. I see it because whenever I'm on call, and I'm on call very frequently, I'm on call for about 90,000 people. So for this to be stressful, this is fun. To be on call for 90,000 people, that's a little bit stressful. So I want to get into the training a little bit. I can do this by knowing that there's at least 2 people that were on a scene here recently. Nobody knew at the time that the individual that was laying on the ground had a mother that lived in Carroll County. One person in this room I know assisted with CPR because she immediately determined that somebody was doing it wrong, so she stepped up and did it right. I also know Tony was there because he told me, Tony, when you were sitting there watching that, what did you think of the Lafayette police officers as they were there?
Right.
Did they act professionally?
Yeah, when I got there, they were already there, appeared to be helping Cassie.
Okay.
CPR.
Yes, yes. What I'm getting at is you saw the Lafayette Police Department at work, correct?
Sure.
I trained those guys. Helped train them. I was there with them. I also got called in. I think you had left before I got there. But I got called in to help work for that. But little did anyone know that person laying on the ground was deceased, eventually called. But she has a mother that lives in Carroll County. I won't go into details about the case, but we have the person that's responsible for that, and he will be awaiting trial soon. As far as DTF, when I say the criminal element is coming to town, it is coming to town. It is here. Drug Task Force was disbanded several years ago. It's much needed. It's necessary. I have the resources and the people available to work with those people and make them a valid and valued member of our department here at the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. As far as the high-tech crimes unit, I'm also very in-depthly involved with those. And in fact, the chief forensic investigator, I think is what his title is. And if I got that wrong, I apologize, Sean, if you watch this. But he and I are very close friends, and he helps me immensely with the cases that I work as well. And yes, Tony was correct. He did take my place in 2002. And did you work there 2 years? Okay. And then right to the Sheriff's Department. Then you left for a little bit. Oh, you did. Did you get laid off or something like that?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, laid off.
Yeah. Because we then hired a couple of guys also that got laid off. And one of their backgrounds. But all in all, I've been in law enforcement for 28 years consecutively. When I turned 21, I'm 49 right now. This is all I have ever done. This is the passion that I have. This is all that I ever will do until I can't do it anymore. I want you to understand that I'm an independent candidate. I don't have party backing, but I have people backing. That's what I have. And there are people on both sides of the fence, Democrat and Republican, backing me 100%. And I appreciate that, and that means so much to me. But I'm an independent candidate. I didn't have to choose a side, and I didn't choose a side. I did that for a reason. Because I think it's important that a sheriff doesn't have anybody to try to sway them in any way, shape, or form. Because I'm for the people, and I'm being supported by the people. When you vote, what you'll need to do is look for the independent candidate, which is me, and you can't choose which party that you claim. Go through that, and you don't, basically you can't vote straight ticket. So, I'm available for questions anytime, any place, and
I have some.
this is the place. So, I'll give it to Debbie right now, and we'll start this. Thank you very much.
Sorry. I want both of you to know that some of these questions come from the comment. Many come from the community. I've been getting texts all day today. I'm supposed to wait till last night, and emails and things like that. So, Mark, what are your professional expectations of the deputies and the jail staff?
That'd be accountability, professionalism, respect, not just of me, but of themselves and of the public. Transparency. I expect them to be professional in their career and everyone else. So, simple. Why they became police officers to serve the public, that's what I expect them to do. Nothing more than they're doing right now.
And so when you see that that's lacking, as sheriff, how would you address that? What would you do?
I would address it by having a conversation with them and dealing with them directly. It wouldn't be letting it fester until something happened. It would be taking control of it right immediately.
Is one of your expectations that deputies don't disobey the law?
Absolutely. As law enforcement officers, we are held to a higher standard. Whether one wants to know that, believe that, or feel that, that is what people expect of us, and that's exactly what they'll get under my leadership.
And Tony, what are your professional expectations of deputies?
Not much any different. My campaign logo is integrity, professionalism, and accountability. Everyone needs to be held at a higher standard. Do their job. Everybody go home safe. Nothing any different than what Mark said, and that's what the guys do now. And if there is something that was to get out of line, I'm the first person they don't want to kind of talk to.
Because
I hold them to that standard, and I really think at this point, I could be wrong in saying it, but they don't want to disappoint me. I don't think they want to disappoint me.
Tony, if elected, will the double homicide investigation change?
Change in what manner?
Any manner. I mean, ramp up, move,
there
whatever.
are people that work this, as I said before, that is a top priority case for not just me, it's for the entire sheriff's department, it's for the Indiana State Police, it's mostly for the families, the Williams family, the German family. They are what drives us every day, and things are very positive. I'll leave it at that. Things are very positive right now. Nothing would change. We bring people in. We have help. Things are going well.
Okay. Mark, if you're elected, there's a rumor that you're going to downsize or shut down the double homicide. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm
That's
just
fine.
saying.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there. Like I said before, the internet is a great place to share information when it's good information. However, no, that's absolutely false. Why would I do that? That's nonsense. It will ramp up. I will tell you that. And Tony said that nothing will change. Something will change with me. I'm not going to get into it right now because I'm just not going to be the one to give false hope or anything like that to Miss Patty, who's here, that I see. I have also worked on that case. And from the very beginning, I wanted to be involved the day of. I didn't get there until day 4. Had a team that was ready to go. Was told to contact another agency to get the go-ahead. We finally did. When elected, I pledged to do everything that I can to make that better. Not that anything's wrong. I won't say that. I won't bash anyone because that's not me. Everyone knows me, and I'm not that person. But what I will say is it will ramp up.
Okay, thank you. Tony, how are you different from your opponent? I mean, what sets you apart from Mark? And of course, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Yeah.
I'll tell you a lot of what he said in the beginning. He's from the Lafayette Police Department. I wish we had their budget. I wish we had their manpower. I wish we had their toys. But when it all boils down to it, it's not necessarily what the sheriff of the county wants. It's about the people that hold the money of the county. The county council determines what money we're going to get. I wish we could do things at the scale that Lafayette does. We have 13, including the sheriff, when Mark goes to a scene, Mark has more than 13 people helping him investigate crimes. We rely on the Indiana State Police for the bigger investigations. You don't see a lot of Indiana State Police, for instance, if we needed their assistance tonight on a call, they're most likely not going to come, and if they are, they're coming from Montgomery County or Warren County to respond to a call from you guys. That's the difference. I like Mark. Mark's a nice guy, but Mark doesn't know the small-time sheriff's department budget. We scrape by, and we do a very, very, very good job with what we're given. Each and every one of us give our all to all you people, everybody that's not here. We don't work here because it's the money. We work here because we love Carroll County. And that's the only difference. He gets a lot of things the easy way in Lafayette. They're in a concrete jungle. We're out here in rural Indiana doing things good.
Okay, Mark?
Wish no further. I have the resources that I have now, that training, that experience, at a moment's notice. Memorandum of understanding is available, and we can use them anytime we need. I've worked that out as I started to run, as currently as it is. They have no issue coming to help. Our drug task force is here in Carroll County quite a bit. Yeah, we do have a bigger budget. We should have a bigger budget. We have a lot more funds to deal with. But the training is easy. Those trainers are willing to come to Carroll County because they want to. A couple of those guys actually live in Carroll County. So pretty easy to get some training, free training, because any of those trainers want to make everyone better. Because when they're better, we're better.
Thanks. Tony,
The training, we get the training. I don't want anybody in this room to think we don't get good training. There were classes that were supposed to be coming to Lafayette Police Department. They have their own training facility. I sent email after email trying to get a response from, I assume it's a training coordinator guy, and couldn't even get an email back. Sure, you have those contacts with them. We have good training, we get good training, and if we can't do it ourselves, we go find it.
Tony, going along with the budget things that you said, one person in the community emailed me and said there's been a lot of talk about deputies not having proper equipment, such as body cams, which may have helped them save from current lawsuits. The current sheriff and chief deputy both have expensive trucks that are not necessary for their positions. This person wants to know, are you going to continue that practice if you're elected? Or would you move the money around so that the deputies have proper equipment and not drive an expensive vehicle?
The deputies, what they need to help you comes first, not what the sheriff needs, not what a chief deputy needs. For the record, I had nothing to do with any of the vehicles that I drive. Those were all previously bought before I got here. But the priority goes with the guys that are out on the road, the boots on the ground. They're the guys that need the proper equipment, and that's the way it should be.
And I think this person wants to know, when it comes to budget time, and maybe you're due for a new vehicle or something, are you going to choose something pretty expensive like what is now there? Or would you downsize so that money in the budget could be used for equipment?
Absolutely. Whatever. It's not about the expense for the sheriff or the chief deputy in the sense of they shouldn't have the expensive things. It should be what is needed for the road guys. So yes.
Okay,
we would need to rearrange things. I don't even like the truck.
okay. So I'm hearing, and I'm going to ask you so that you can say it directly. And Mark, you start. What are your thoughts about the use of body cams, dash cams, GPS locators on police vehicles, and the use of security cameras inside police vehicles? I went on a lot on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I went
Let's start with body cameras. It's a necessity. I wish I had that. I want that. I need that. It is a necessity. In this day and age of policing, body cameras are a necessity. That's just it. You mentioned current litigation. You obviously can't get into that current litigation. However, with a body cam or with body cams, may not even be a litigation. Does that make sense? So,
dash cams?
dash cams are necessary too. They also capture things that the deputy or the officer may not see en route to a crime. I don't know how many times we pulled dash cams of officers and such going to calls. We see maybe our fleeing vehicle leaving the scene. They didn't know it was a fleeing vehicle at the time. So, all of which, very, very important.
So how about GPS locators on police vehicles for accountability?
That's an extremely important part of the technology that I wish to bring. With that being said, there's, I guess, dispatching programs that will dispatch the most, I guess, the closest unit to get their response time down to help the citizens. And I think it's very necessary to make sure that we get to our people when they need our help.
And lastly, security cameras inside police vehicles. How are you with that?
I'm very good with that because a lot of times there are people in the back seat, I guess not necessarily suspects, but people that are heading to jail. It's very important to be able to monitor them and have a recording of what they say, what they do, and such.
Tony, same question. You want me to repeat the list? Body cams?
Body cams, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, without question. All of them, everything that you mentioned, everything that she
Dash
mentioned.
cams?
All of
You don't have those now, do you?
We used to, but once they went kaput, they've never been replaced.
Are you in favor of GPS locators?
Yes, we have that capability. We have that capability with the laptops that we have. Won't they crash? We can't use them.
And security cameras inside police vehicles?
Absolutely, kind of like what he said. You can get somebody in your car and sit them in the back seat. There's no expectation of privacy. If they start talking about a crime they just committed, you can use that. So, absolutely.
Okay. In the past, Tony, let's go to you first. In the past 2 or so years, formal complaints have been lodged in court alleging excessive force by deputies. As sheriff, how would you handle that?
Most of the lawsuits these days, this is a defund the police time. There are a lot of frivolous lawsuits. And Lafayette probably gets a lot of frivolous lawsuits themselves. So either way, the body cameras would solve that no matter what. But you kind of have to rely on the he said, she said. You hope that your guys have done what they're supposed to do. They've done their job and reported the correct way. You investigate those things to the full extent that you can. And then it plays out in court.
And
You really can't comment about.
What would you do as sheriff if you found out that, some of that had gone on?
There would be trouble.
Trouble?
People cannot.
Would there be discipline?
Absolutely.
Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. If guys do things wrong, they have to know that there's an expectation to do it right all the time. And they do, but if you mess up, there's consequences.
And Mark, same question. As sheriff, how would you handle that with your deputies? If you found that, yes, there was excessive force, or, there was something filed, and that kind of thing.
Excessive force, again, is uncalled for. It's unnecessary. And as far as frivolous excessive force, a body cam will exonerate those that need exonerated and will prove what needs proved for the person that, if they were, I guess, not force used on them properly. So there are times that you have to use force on people if they are trying to hurt you, or hurt someone else, or hurt the public. But there's times that it is not. And body cams, which I'm not sure why Carroll County still does not have them. And as far as the technology is out there, we need that here in this community. And again, that's something that I want to bring, this technology to this area, because it's needed. And I know that it has been said that the laptops crash. We need new laptops. I know all this takes money. Recently, there was a reappropriation for a truck from Delphi Police Department. Several $1,000s. I think that would have probably bought some body cameras, because I know that you had mentioned at one point storage was an issue. You're at 500 cases. We're at 12,000. We have the storage. It's available and it can be purchased, but there's not that much that needs to be documented here on a day-to-day basis, because there's only 3 or 4 calls. So, in my opinion only, we can have some body cameras in this community.
Did you say we only have 3 or 4 calls? Is that what you just said?
About a shift, sometimes not.
We have, just because we've pulled 500 cases, that's not a call volume. We've pulled 500-ish case reports for the year. There are more calls than 3 or 4 for 2 guys that are on duty. So I don't want anybody, including Mark, that doesn't understand the calls in Carroll County. We have more than 3 or 4 calls. We've just pulled roughly 500 incident reports. Way more calls.
Tony, how would any community member know that? How would any community member know that number?
Under the current sheriff, I don't know. They could call and ask you.
That's
part of the transparency part of it, I suppose. So,
yeah.
But they can call and find out. We'll happily tell them the number of calls. But there's nowhere that we post, we had 20 calls today or anything like that. No.
Okay.
But I don't think you see that anywhere.
I don't know. I know we don't see it here.
I mean, when I say you won't see that, you don't see that posted. You don't see. I've never seen Lafayette say they've had 200 calls or what have you. There's nowhere that I know of that posts just a general number of calls.
Mm-hmm.
There may be access to it a lot easier than what we have, but you just don't see that. You have to go look.
Okay.
Debbie, can I respond to that?
Oh, sure.
Anybody can call in and see how many incidences we've had. We're probably right now with incidents. I mean, I say 12,000 for a case number. Incidents is probably 200,000.
But again, just same thing I said. You have to call in. It's not. Your question was where can people go to find that? If you call in, sure.
Maybe from the newspaper. I just don't know. We would print that if that number was given to us, and it never has been. And so I just think it would be interesting for people to hear that. Tony, and this is from the community. Some of these others aren't. We have lost 2 of the detectives working on the double homicide, with only you remaining. I don't know that that's a true statement, that only you are remaining. But how will the void be filled if you're elected?
Are they saying we've lost 2 detectives? Carroll County detectives.
Yeah. And if you're elected, it's the assumption that you will lead that investigation as well on the level that you're at right now.
Correct. I will still remain involved with that, but the general core of this investigation group would stay, and we would just incorporate one of our guys into that and get them up to speed. And actually, that's not always a bad thing. Someone coming in, it always has that opportunity to see something that maybe there wasn't seen in the beginning to start with.
Mm-hmm. And that investigation.
Well,
and record.
there is a team that is ready at any given point to assist. Assuming when I'm elected, Tony wishes to stay, obviously. His knowledge of the case is important. Won't discount that a bit. But he'll have some help.
So there's a team someplace.
Yes.
Another question, and for you, Mark, well, for both of you, then. When the deputies go out of the county, that leaves residents, Carroll County residents, vulnerable. And where, in your opinion, does it make sense to respond to out-of-county incidents?
Depends on the incident. Call for help from another officer trumps a lot of things. However, it is discretionary, and as sheriff, I'll make sure that that discretionary period is warranted, and I would like to see them being in control of districts or, I guess, sectors of the county, so that as I've been through the community and talking to people, I see that there's places that have never seen a police car in several weeks. I want to make sure that they get the service they need, the service they want. So people will be responsible for areas of the county to make sure that they're being seen.
So when there is a call from another agency, in your administration, would you send a deputy? Would a deputy just go? Would a deputy check with you to see, should I do this? How would that go in your administration?
Again, that's discretionary. A lot of times in our profession, the officer has a lot of discretion. If it's warranted, I'll have their back. If it's not, we're going to have issues.
How are they going to know if it's warranted?
That's, again, their discretion. And their discretion is part of their training and experience. And I just want people to know that as a discretionary officer, I'm not trying to micromanage, but they need to understand that if there's a call for help, I would expect them to go. If it's just somebody wanting to see a different part of the county, then we'll have issues, and that issues will be discipline.
Same question, Mr. Liggett.
Once again, Carroll County is a small agency. We rely on White County, for example. If our guys are inevitably, if there's a call in Burlington, something happens up by the lake. So Monticello, White County, Tippecanoe County, Clinton County. It's a mutual aid thing. So vice versa, if Clinton County has something going on in Rossville and they ask us to come and help, we return that favor. It's just mutual aid. You want to know that a police officer's coming to help you when you need one. And if that's from another agency, we'll take it. Dividing people out into sectors. We have 2 guys on duty. So we can divide it north and south. Generally speaking, if there's 2 guys don't go to every call, that's not warranted. I'm not saying that. But on any other kind of call, officer safety, personal safety, crashes, things like that, both those officers are going to that. We want 2 people there to help you guys out on a crash or whatever. Can one guy handle it? A lot of times, yes. But we're going to allow our guys to use their discretion, not a bad word, to help other surrounding counties, surrounding agencies, and they're going to help us too.
So that would be your policy, your administrative policy.
Yes.
Anybody else have a question? Who? What?
I do. You guys were talking, I'm Sarah, if you can. You guys have been talking about a lot of hands, and I'd like to know what it costs.
Who do you want to go?
Whoever goes first, raise your hand.
How much does a body cam cost? Isn't that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
So I recently, I think it was in 2020, looked into Axon and Body, and another company called Body worn cameras to outfit the road deputies, not the sheriff, not the detectives, just the guys that work the road. With the cheaper of them at the time was Axon and jail. We want jail staff to have them as well, not just road guys. But that was in the ballpark of $100,000.
For what?
No. To outfit all,
Okay,
to outfit everybody in the storage.
I got distracted, sorry.
Sure. There may be cheaper ways to get it done. Those were the ones that I was told to check on. But if there are grants, I think body cameras in Carroll County is very, very doable. There are grants for that stuff.
So, what constitutes the entire system for a body cam? Is it just the body cam and like the internal workings, or is there something that it's backing up to at the sheriff's station?
And good for those two particular ones, you need good internet basically. You get this, that included storage through the body camera company. They stored that stuff. They provided software that you can redact things out and things like that. So that was storage included. Loading docks that they set their cameras in at the sheriff's department and good internet.
Mark, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I can't disagree. It's expensive. It is very expensive. $100,000 doesn't seem out of line, to be honest with you, for a dozen body cameras, and docking station, and cloud storage. Current litigation, that's going to be a blank check. We can buy body cameras for $100,000 or pay litigation costs of open your checkbook for the county.
Okay, Mark, first you. Currently, the sheriff has not embraced random drug testing. It is left, leaving it to his discretion. Would you subscribe to random drug testing as a regular part of employment for your deputies and for the jail staff?
Absolutely. For the last 20 years, I've had random drug screens. At random, we'll say that. We have tobacco screens even, because part of our insurance, if you are healthy and go through the steps to go through the insurance that we have, part of that is if you choose not to use tobacco, if your BMI, your body mass index is acceptable, you get a break on your insurance, and part of that is we do random drug screens and or tobacco screens. So yes, random drug screens are very important. It holds people accountable again. That's the premise of it.
Tony?
Yeah, I have no problem at all with random drug testing.
Would you do it
Sure, absolutely,
if you became sheriff?
absolutely.
Because the current sheriff doesn't.
I won't speak to the current sheriff.
Just saying.
Just
Just
answer your question.
Another thing that just came in before I left, as for both candidates, and Tony, you go first, I'd like, as part of their duties, both candidates have worked as homicide detectives. How many years has that been part of their job? And in those years, what is their closure percentage? And of those closures, what is their conviction rate? It's kind of a multi-question. So how many years have you been a detective? That's the first part.
As I said, we don't separate out homicide detectives in Carroll County. I'm just a detective. I started as detective in 2015. Since then, we've had 3, and not counting Flora. I had no. It's an Indiana State Police investigation. It's not ours, but 3 separate incidents. I have 1 conviction, and the other guy shot himself. So 2 of the 3.
Mark, Do you need a recap on this question?
Yes, please.
I do too, and I'm looking at it. How many years has being a detective, and this person asked about homicide detective, has that been part of your job? And in those years, what is your closure percentage? And of those closures, what is your conviction rate? You read this 3 times, it starts to make sense.
Can I just read the question again? No, I'm just kidding.
I can.
I've been a detective for the city of Lafayette for 14 years. Most of my career at Lafayette Police. Of that, again, it's not a big enough agency. I've been to Little Rock, Arkansas recently. They have a homicide squad of 8 people. They're very, very busy. The Lafayette Police Department does not have technically homicide detectives. Now there are several of us that are homicide trained. Number of cases, we're in the, as lead homicide investigator, I believe I'm up to 14. But I've been on the scene of probably over 100 in that 14 years. But as lead, we'll just continue with that. My closure rate is about 99%. The one that I can tell you right now that is not closed because the subject went to Veracruz. I can't get him back. But other than that, we close what we do.
Tony, wait, you didn't answer that question? I'm sorry.
No, I was the first one.
Okay. Oh, you did, okay. I'll lose it, yeah. Tony, what's the role of the merit board?
The role of the merit board, they assist the sheriff, they take care of our retirement funds and things like that, and any kind of disciplinary action the sheriff would take before the merit board.
How many members are on the merit board?
5.
What?
There's 5, there's 3 appointed by the sheriff, 2 by the deputies, and it falls along party lines.
There it's a party thing, yeah. Mark, how are you with the merit board? You know about the merit board, I'm sure.
I do. We have one very similar.
Ah.
I've never had the opportunity to meet with ours because that usually means discipline.
Oh.
So I do know them. I have seen them, but I've never been in front of them for discipline, ever in my 20 years at the Lafayette Police Department.
It's my assumption that they do more than just discipline. Because they have meetings, they call meetings, they're, they have to, and none of them are ever executive sessions. So that means I could go to their meetings.
For us, it's retirement.
Hiring too, I believe, aren't they? Are they?
Yeah, they have a role in hiring and firing, discipline, yes.
So, Mark, how will your administration be different from the current administration if you're elected? These are probably kind of general terms, but what would the public expect to see differently?
Professionalism, integrity, and honesty. I bring that with me from this point until then. But moreover, I've had that my entire career, 28 years. They'll expect nothing less. I will expect nothing less of myself. The deputies are good people. I know they are. They know me. Doesn't matter what shirts they're wearing. I know them. I've worked with them. Worked with Tony. Tony has sat in my chair and watched me interview people before. So, what I bring to the table is professionalism, integrity, and honesty. Will not waver.
The question was, what would you bring? That's here. I appreciate that you would keep it that way, but our guys are professional. They do their job with integrity. They do their job when they're off duty, on duty. Again, small department, pretty tight knit. Those things are here already.
Are your officers, are the deputies required to report to the jail before going on duty?
Before going on duty, no.
So they call in from,
Yeah, when they get in their vehicle, if they're supposed to come on at 6 o'clock, most of them come on before their actual time that they're supposed to come on duty. But they just mark on duty from the radio. They start patrol from their house.
Mark? Is that the way it would be in your administration?
At times, but there will also be times that I'd like to meet with them, encourage them, be there for them if they need anything. So that will be a face-to-face roll call on many days.
Somebody wrote to me, our current jail has not been well maintained, which is a common problem with the county-owned real estate and other assets. Jail safety and security ultimately falls to the sheriff. How will you deal with either the existing or new jail when it comes to maintaining a county asset and the demonstrated reluctance of the commissioners to allocate for preventative maintenance?
Well, there was a time, probably 2 years into the current jail's, existence, that it was already having trouble. I know that because I spoke to the sheriff that was the sheriff when it was built. So it's had trouble. It needs to be maintained. My house currently is over 100 years old. If I did maintain it, it probably still wouldn't be standing. That has no change in the current building. The commissioners will have to get an education on what they see, what we see, and how to keep up with things.
And how will you do that?
Meetings, talk to them, converse with them, make them see what I see what the inmates see. Basically communicate. There needs to be an open line of communication between us and them to make sure that they understand what's going on currently. When doors don't shut, when heating and air conditioning problems occur, they need to know, and they need to know how that we can remedy that.
Tony? You remember the question?
If given a chance and we get this new jail, there needs to be preventative maintenance already set up. I'm not a maintenance guy per se. I can't go out and fix the air conditioning or anything myself, but you can set up twice a year. HVAC guys are going to come and just do preventative maintenance, look things over, make sure they're there, check the roof. You can do all those things ahead of time, set up contracts. And again, he's not wrong, communicate. Commissioners need to be in the building, council people need to be in the building, seeing it all the time, not just being in the room in the courthouse. They should come and see what's happening. But set up contracts, do those things in advance.
Another from the same caller. County commissioners spent $225,000 on a 60-year-old building for EMA in the corner. They had existing office space, I believe that person means in the courthouse, equipment space and available rental space. Our deputies do not have body cameras nor functioning GPS or laptops. You are starting with an antiquated system, equipment, and commissioners are viewed by some as having poor spending priorities. How will you manage this? How will you retain, recruit, and equip officers for citizens and officer safety? How would you do that?
I guess you kind of lost me in the question.
Okay. I'll read it again. County commissioners spent $225,000 on a 60-year-old building for EMA in the corner. They had existing office space that they could use. They had equipment space and available rental space. Our deputies don't have body cams or functioning GPS and laptops. You're starting with antiquated equipment, and commissioners viewed by some as having poor spending priorities. How will you manage this and retain, recruit, and equip officers for citizen and officer safety?
can't speak to what space they have for EMA or anything like that. But it does need, spending needs to be a priority. Again, we go back to the staffing issues that we currently have. We need to keep guys here. We have, so for a new guy to come here, if a new guy starts tomorrow, he makes $45,000. He can go to Delphi City and start off at roughly $54,000. They can go to Florida and start off at roughly $54,000. Spending is an issue. We're going to have a hard time retaining guys. People work here right now because they love Carroll County. They're just like me. They want to do good for everybody in this room and everybody outside of this room in Carroll County. But there just comes a point, we lost Darren Gene Cola. He went to Tate and Lyle. We're never going to be able to, we're never going to be able to compete with what Tate and Lyle pays. But if he made a salary that him and his wife and kids could live on, he may not have been looking. So spending is a big issue. We've got to keep the people here. If we lose people, the training, like I said at the beginning, if we lose people, say we hire 2 guys tomorrow, they're not going to be on the road for a year. So spending is a big issue. That's up to the commissioners and the council as to how that money gets spent. And the best thing I can say as sheriff is I would be passionate about telling them what the needs are and not putting Carroll County in jeopardy, the safety in jeopardy of the citizens.
Mark?
You're right, spending is the issue. Spending is an issue when it's not placed upon the right things. Why in the last several years body cameras haven't been a priority is beyond me. I, as a detective, as a plainclothes detective, have a body camera. I'm supposed to use that every day when I'm having interactions with the public. The officers are mandated. That is part of the SOP, the standing operating procedure of our department, to have those and have those in use every single day with every police contact that we have. Spending, again, is the issue. I can't speak for what the commissioners have spent their money on, but I think that if the commissioners were able to communicate better with the sheriff and the deputies to see what their needs are, I think that's where the problem lies, communication.
Well, no one likes to address items from social media. It is a fact of everyday life. After the deaths of 6 female children, there's been an accusation that the Sheriff's Department has not done enough investigating of crimes against women and children. What step will you take as sheriff, and I'll ask you, Mark, first, what steps will you take as sheriff to correct that image? You know, just because they say it on Facebook doesn't make it true.
Yeah, I put very little effort into Facebook, to be honest with you.
Do you think that image needs to be corrected?
In so much as speaking with domestic violence partners that I work with, yes, there are trainings that can be held. There is awareness that can be held. Everyone is regarded as needing due process, being, I guess, spoke to at some point. And if that person happens to be a female or adult or a child, they are allowed due process just like everyone else. It could be some sensitivity training, what have you, but if it's on Facebook, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
Tony, how would you try to correct, or would you try to correct that image?
If I'd heard that from people and not Facebook, absolutely. That's the first time I've heard that been said. I put zero stock in Facebook, zero stock in Reddit, the internet in general. I've talked to a lot of people, Carroll County people, over the last year, and not a single person has said anything about women or children being treated any different during an investigation.
I'd say our department as a whole, but especially me, take pride in giving people respect and listening and compassion when I talk to them. We get domestic violence training yearly. I've not heard that. If it was an issue that I was being told, we would absolutely do something to correct it.
So, Tony, how would you work to reduce violent crime in Carroll County?
I'd love to have more officers so we could be even more proactive. Most of our crimes, we don't have a lot of violent crime, but what crimes we do have, they stem from the drugs and alcohol, as I said before. And if we can incorporate a drug task force, and Mark keeps saying, I've got a team on standby. Well, he has a team on standby for everything. Why are we waiting? We've worked with Lafayette Drug Task Force. We work with Indiana State Police Drug Task Force. White County has a guy. We work with those people. I would like to dedicate one of our guys to be on that drug task force. But then again, it's a staffing issue.
Mark, respond.
Go ahead and repeat the question again.
How will you work to reduce violent crime?
Well, I see it every day. I know what it looks like. I know how to prevent what we can by being proactive. Proactivity is key. Get the officers the training they need to recognize what's going on, where it's coming from, and how to stop it before it happens.
Okay. Yes. Audience? Somebody has a question?
Yeah,
Good. Oh, Tom, come on down. Oh, you can shout. Yes.
I recently talked with the Sheriff's Department of Clinton County, and the state of Indiana has recently abolished the requirement of a handgun permit. Clinton County offers handgun safety classes on a regular basis, and the majority now are the females that are attending these classes. I have never seen our Sheriff's Department offer any kind of civilian handgun training safety classes. Is this an issue that could be addressed to make us, the citizens, feel more comfortable with what the state of Indiana has done, taking away the permit requirement to carry a handgun?
What's the question? Tony, you take it.
Yeah, absolutely. At the last debate, I talked about that. I think that's a great idea. In the beginning of the no handgun, there's pros and cons to that. The pro to having a permit system is prior to, I think it was last year, 6,000 people in the state of Indiana were denied their handgun permit. So it was people that weren't eligible to get their permit. But at the same time, I view that as bad guys don't ask for permits. When they go commit crimes with guns, they're not asking for permission to carry their gun, they just do it. However, a lot of people don't know how to use a gun. And again, my wife, she didn't carry a gun before she met me. I trained her. I'm not a firearms expert, but yes, we have firearms instructors on our department. We can get the NRA in here that they have classes specifically for that. And I'm very pro. I would like to do that when I'm sheriff.
I'm very pro Second Amendment. So with July 1st coming around and the availability for most, if not necessarily, there are some requirements that you still have to meet to carry a handgun, but the licensing is abolished now as of July 1st. There needs to be some training because there are good citizens out there that want to carry and want to be comfortable carrying. Because a lot of people have firearms in their homes for personal defense. inside their homes. But what now they can do is carry them out and protect all of us. So I'm a big proponent of getting the training out, pushing training out. So as sheriff, that's what I will do. I will have the assistance of a few I know that are willing to push that out as well.
And I just want to clarify, I don't know where you stand, but I'm very pro Second Amendment as well.
I've got my handgun permit.
Yes.
I can be heard too, don't worry. Mark, this is going to you first. I've been hearing a lot from you about you've got the groups, you've got them on standby. So it seems like you really think that's needed. And I'm wondering why you think it's so needed. And when you were asked about what you would do different, and you brought up the professional integrity, and I'm not sure you quite meant it that way, but that's what I heard. So why, I mean, I feel like you're almost thinking we don't know what we're doing, we need a lot of help, and if all that help is needed and out there, is it only available if you're a sheriff? And then Tony, your part of it would be, hey, is there room for outside entities? Is there a better way? Do we need to build better bridges to support our small office?
So these groups, these people that I say are available, they can be available now, they're not asked. As far as the professionalism, integrity, accountability, I'm not saying that's not here. But what I am saying is that's what I bring to the table, and the people that know me for the last 28 years and beyond know that that's where I stand, and that's where I'm at right now, and that's where I'll be forever.
We reach out for training to, I mean, you have to. Lafayette they can't do all their own training. They do probably 98% of their own training. But yes, we have to reach out. I'm an instructor. There are things that we can do. We have firearms instructors. There's emergency vehicle operations. We are very self-sufficient, but you can't do it all. There's no homicide training that we can give each other. There's no crime scene training that we can do, any of that stuff. So we reach out and go to trainings all the time that are not within the department.
Who else has questions? I'm sorry, I didn't see you guys. I was, sitting here. Yes. A question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell me what your pursuit policy would be with licensure?
Your what?
Pursuit vehicle.
Pursuit. Okay. Did you get that? Mark, you start, please.
Nate, is that for me?
Either one.
Okay. It's for both? Okay.
Yeah.
There comes a time when there's a forcible felony, when there's people in danger, when the community itself is in danger for someone out that is going to do harm. I would expect that we make every effort available to apprehend those individuals.
Did that answer your question?
Kind of, but it's well.
Okay. Tony?
Yeah, there are pursuits that, if they don't stop for a traffic stop, just a routine traffic stop or something like that, I want to be involved with that decision. If I'm not on duty, dispatch contacting me, if the traffic's heavy, if they're going through the city of Flora, the town of Flora, and they're going to be driving like idiots, I don't want them doing it. But at the same time, if someone has just committed a forcible felony and we need to get them and we can do it in a generally safe manner or get it stopped before it gets inside of town, then we need to get that stopped and get that person into custody. But the little stuff, I'd like to be involved. My policy would be to contact me, a chief deputy, someone, and let them know what's going on, what the traffic conditions are, and then decide. And if they want to stop the pursuit themselves, that's what we do now. The guys have that discretion that they can stop. They're grown men, they're professional men. They get to make choices. But if it's going to continue, I would like to be involved with that decision.
Good. Okay, somebody back there.
This is for Mark first.
Can you stand up, please?
No, I can't.
I've got my.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can't even see you.
Yeah, I can try, but I'll fall down.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Mark, it's been, known that the officers are backing Tony. How many of the active deputies have actually came up to you and got your knowledge and your experience? And then I'll have a question for Tony afterwards. And why do you think, for the ones who haven't talked to you, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure why, but I have some suspicions that there's probably been things said about me that aren't true. Like one of those were that if I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to fire them all. That's nonsense, completely nonsense. And I went to that individual that said that because he said it to 2 different people who told me that, and he told me that he never said that. However, that could be some of that. Those that I do know and have spoken to, I have no issues with. I will do anything to help them further any case they got at any point. So I'll work with them. I work with them now, and I will continue to work with them. I have no issues. I'm a professional person as they are. I've done this job long enough that when I need to, I guess, have that interaction, it will be professional without a question.
If I might, I've never heard you were going to fire everybody either, so.
You must not have heard that from the person I did that. The 2 people I heard it from.
And then a question for Tony.
Okay.
You brought up Valley Oaks as a resource that you would go to as far as drug and alcohol abuse. As most of us know, Valley Oaks is overran and overworked. And how are you going to get that in the community as a resource? Can we establish something here in the community to get that help for them here?
You're absolutely right. We pay Valley Oaks, the county pays Valley Oaks a very large amount of money to provide services to Carroll County. And last I checked, they don't have any counselors. So I question that. We talk about body cameras, but I think it's a statutory thing that they have to pay. But I don't want to just rely on Valley Oaks. Like I talked about with the community corrections, they have a network already set up. That it would be great to get those people to start seeing them in jail, establish a relationship, and then as they move forward, if they go on house arrest or some form of day reporting or something within community corrections, they can continue with that person. And if it doesn't work out with that counselor, they can do it with someone else within that system. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Valley Oaks is pretty stressed right now. But there's also NAMI. There are plenty of other resources that I've talked to that we could get in here.
And then I'll have a question for the both of you. I have had a discussion with Mark in a previous conversation with that about being an active sheriff, and that's just being on the road, warrants and all that other stuff. Tony, are you planning on being an active out on the road guy too? And if you guys could further into that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I actually miss being on the road. Sheriff stuff, administrative things. There are going to be some things that take priority. I'm not just going to go out and patrol. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do that. But yeah, when we have 2 guys on duty, we may have a call that needs a 3rd guy, a 4th guy. And I'm going to be there for that, not just for the guys, but for the citizens, the people they're helping. Crashes need taken care of. I'm going to be that guy. I'm a workhorse. That's all I know.
With the current administration that is not active and does stay in the sheriff's department a lot of the times, what's your take on that compared to what your administration would do?
Again, I won't speak to the current sheriff's thoughts. I just know I'm a workhorse. I miss being on the road, and I'm going to go out and help people.
Thank you.
So at the Lafayette Police Department, I'm at the tip of the spear. I was at the tip of the spear when I was in patrol. That's how I got into detectives as fast as I did. As a detective, I am still at the tip of the spear. First in, last out. Kind of like a fireman, but not. When we have warrants, that's where I'm at. I'm doing my own warrants, working my own cases. I work a lot of cases. As the sheriff, same work ethic. I'm going to be there for the guys. If one of them needs to take off for their kids or they've got something going on, no need to worry about it. I'm going to come in and I'm going to work the streets. Have no problem with that.
Just to clarify too, just the other night, I worked 9 to 2 in the jail after I'd worked all day. I went back and worked at the jail from 9 to 2. That's what I do.
We're going to tell stories. We can do that. I just drove straight to Arkansas. Got a few hours of sleep. Interviewed the suspect. Drove home for 9 hours. Was on the road for 18 and a half hours or so, give or take. Did my job, came home, worked the next day. What were you doing at the jail at that one? What investigation were you working?
I was jailing.
Okay.
Yes. Do you need a microphone?
I do not have a microphone. So I've heard a lot, and I've been to many of these debates, and I've heard of, I think this is important. I've heard, yes, that's something I want to do. Yes, we need this. Do either of you have a strategic plan of how you're going to do those things you want to do, you see a need for? Like when you walk in that office on January 1st, do you know what you're going to do?
Who do you want to answer that?
I don't care.
Okay, Mark, answer that.
Yes. 30, 90-year plans are in place. We'll start with the day one, hour one. Personal inventory. I'm going to speak with each one, find their strengths, find their weaknesses, elaborate on the strengths and work on the weaknesses. After that, once that's established, we figure out what they need and how we need to go about getting that done. Also, there's support staff that will need to be figured out what they need and how to further their job. What I want to do is to make a seamless transition as seamless as it can be. And then work on getting the things that I see as important, getting them done as quickly as possible so that the 4 years runs as smoothly as possible and people know where I stand with clear and concise goals in mind. And they will also have those same clear and concise goals.
Tony.
Yeah, I kind of, in a sense, talk about my plan. The biggest problem at the Sheriff's Department right now is staffing. We have to figure out staffing. We have a lot of these goals. We'd like to be more proactive, absolutely. But if the staffing's not there to do it, we're in trouble. So that'll be, if that's not fixed, that'll be one of my first things that I want to do is get us bolstered back up so we can respond to everything, be more proactive, and do those things. Second off, I want to start getting the equipment in that we need, the body cameras. We can start applying for grants and do things like that. So yes, I have a plan, but really it boils down right now it's staffing.
So if that's the plan, but you don't control that because the money is controlled by the commissioners and the council on pay raises, hiring people, how do you plan on doing that?
We got to recruit. You got to go out and find. We have
How
to
do you
find.
recruit with no money?
No, you can do it without money. You have to go out. This school right here is a resource. There's a police class that happens here. You can go to Ivy Tech. There's a police course that happens down, law enforcement class that happens down there. You have to do that without the. And I don't know if this specifically in Tippecanoe County, but these other places are offering $5,000 sign-on bonus and things like that. I'm not going to be able to do that. The council's not going to even remotely go for that. I'm not sure if they're going to bump our pay up so we don't lose people to Delphi and Florida. But that is the first thing that needs shored up in the jail. Because if we don't have jail officers to take care of the inmates, you're not gonna have road guys either. Because the road guys are gonna be in the jail doing what I did the other night. So there is a plan, I do have a plan. That is the first thing that needs to happen, is get the staffing under control.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback off of that?
Yes, you may.
So this is really, and it's, I don't want it to come across in a negative way, but this is more for you, Tony. My understanding is that you were promoted into second command. So why are we waiting? Why are we waiting for you to take office before we start?
I think I said at the beginning, I went into chief deputy because of one of the primary, so the sheriff said, we might as well bring you on board to start learning more sheriff things. I still have cases that I'm working. I'm a detective first. I have a high profile case that we're working hard on every day. I don't have any, I can make all kinds of suggestions and do those things. It's still out of my hands regardless. But I'm still primarily, my job duties are detective.
Can I add to that? I will create a culture of excellence. Basically, people will want to work with me because that's what I have now. People want to work with me. So that's where I come in.
I've done that. Y'all just talked about all the guys that are backing me. I've created that culture for me. Well, again, I won't speak to current administration, but we have that culture. They want to work hard. They want to do that for me.
But shouldn't they want to do that for the citizens of the county?
Right, no, I 100% agree. But why can he say that create a culture? I'm telling you, that culture's already there.
Yeah, but you said for you, so that's why I just wanted to make sure that people understand it's not about serving you, it's about serving the community.
Mark said that he would create a culture around him, and I'm just saying that culture is there.
Go.
Yeah, as previous chief deputy, I was not allowed to do anything out in that scope. And I was told when I was demoted that he would be doing those things. How come I was never given that opportunity to do those things? Because it gave a false impression that other people could. And Tony himself is still not doing those things. He's still going down to Fan Coast and working that investigation. There was things going on during those times where they would have meetings in his office where the current sheriff was having meetings with him, preparing him before the primary was even done. And if anybody don't believe that, you got something wrong.
Mike, is there a question in there? Yep. Okay. Paul?
Do you gentlemen think that there's a pretty big turnout here tonight, that each person maybe ought to call their county councilman and call the commissioner and ask them to support the sheriff's department for, say, pay raises, body cams? You even talked about body cams, but really, I don't think Tony could get much money for body cams. And I hardly ever get a call. I've got a couple calls this week as a councilman saying, we need to raise money for the sheriff's department. Do you guys think we need to have all these people get on their phones and call their local person, whoever wins the race here? We need more money for the sheriff's department, right?
Your question is going to,
Both. Mark.
okay, Mark.
Again, Paul, that's communication. I don't know how the current administration is communicating with you guys and telling your needs.
They are.
That's just not the last week or 2 weeks or since this part of the campaign has begun. This is something that should have been done 8 years ago. There are things that could have been put in place so that this is an easy transition into body cameras that they've been in use for a number of years now. While they're not here, I don't understand that completely.
Well, you guys talked, and he said no money. You said there's grants. There's grants.
There are grants.
Nobody has applied.
Why is somebody doing something about it? What is the hierarchy? Is it because the sheriff doesn't pass it down and say somebody needs to start working on this grant? I mean, I don't understand that. If it's a grant, you apply for it. If it's out there and you need them and it's not easy, you don't have to pay that grant.
Right. I was asked, like I say,
And you may not know that.
in 2020, I was asked to look into get the quotes for it. Those things were submitted. I know there's grants out there. I don't know what he had looked into grant-wise, but I personally know there's grants out there to do that.
I don't know that this is a question, but more of a statement.
You must stand up. No can hear. Thank you so much.
Maybe this is more of a statement than a question, but obviously there is a need within your department, which in essence trickles back down to the citizens of Carroll County. Then my question is, why isn't the council members and the commissioners doing something about it? Because you guys hold the purse.
I think,
You do
I
something.
think.
Guys, this is a sheriff's debate.
But their money.
I know.
From them.
I know. I cover the meetings.
Hey, Debbie, we have a question over here.
Where?
Right here.
Okay.
It's probably pretty much answered. My question was, it sounds like to me, I never realized there's only 2 officers on duty at a time. That's not enough for a whole county.
That's true.
You're working with a skeleton crew here. We need more. You have said, we are losing our officers to the other counties because we are not paying them enough. They are putting their lives on the line every day for us. What are you going to do to convince those councilmen? Sorry, people. They may have to raise taxes. That may be the only way to get that money, and I'm willing to pay for more protection.
I have to tell you, Carroll County is a levy-freeze county, and taxes can't go up much more. I'm just saying, I cover
Then-
council meeting. Yeah.
Okay. But we gotta figure out a way.
Well, there's economic
And that
development
isn't
and
just-
tax money.
That isn't just on the police.
Yeah.
That's not. That's all of us. We all are responsible for this. And if they can't raise taxes anymore to help pay for you guys, what can you do? What can you come up with for us to help you? Grant writing. Does anybody in here know how to write grants?
Oh, okay, why don't you let them talk? Yeah.
What could you do if we can't get more taxes because we can't lose any more policemen?
So
What can you do to get us to help?
just so we're clear, and I think you understand this, 2 people on a good night, if one of them takes a vacation day or is sick, we're down to 1 guy. During the day currently, the sheriff works, I work, and then you have 2 road guys. So I'm doing detective stuff and Toad's doing sheriff stuff, so you still have just 2 guys. But so right now, with the jail staff being short, we have to go do transports. So the guys are coming off the road to come to the jail to take guys to court, sitting in court and then coming back. I mean, it's critical. I spoke to a councilman today. Something needs to be changed. It's about communication, but it's about being passionate. It's about making sure they understand, just like I think it clicked with you, that we need more than just 2 guys on the road. We can section them off to different parts of the county if we have more officers, but we have 2. So we get a lot of help from the city of Delphi, their officers. We get the guys in Florida will come and help us, and vice versa. We go to Delphi and help them, we go to Florida and help them as well. But it's about passion and communication. That's what it's going to take. And I don't even know if that's going to take it. I was under the impression, I could be wrong, that there was something they could do to lift that levy.
I think at some point, but I'm not sure when. Paul, do you know?
We've got, millions of dollars in rainy day funds and things like that.
And there's the other
It's not
stuff.
about raising taxes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's when we're allocating. but you know, there's only one person in this room that I know of that's ever talked to me about funding the sheriff's department better. Well, there's two. One of them's on stage, and there was one more in the audience. Literally call your commissioners, your councilmen, especially your councilmen, because we're setting budgets this week. Tomorrow morning, we're going back in. There'll be nobody tomorrow morning at the council meeting to come in here. I wish this many people would come into our council meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning and tell us what you want. Tell us what you want about, you said 2 officers on duty. We need to hear that. We're not hearing that. And I am voting for it. I'll just tell you. You know, I want more officers on duty. So.
But why can't you guys do like with most people at home?
That's the first time I've ever been asked that, but I'm okay with that. I can be.
Mark, do you want to answer the question over here?
Sure. A lot of this is manpower issues, I realize that. Tony has said that. I know they're down. Got to recruit and get those officers in here. If there are funds available, make them available so we can hire more people. It's an officer safety issue, like Becky said. When you have 2 people going to a call, then maybe 3 or 4 because you've got numerous people. You heard him. I can give you his number if you want. I have it. Call him and make that appropriate.
Call my brothers on the council too, please. I'm for it.
And the problem, it is a problem that we only have 2 guys on duty. But the immediate problem, the stuff that I was talking to Paul about, and I'll talk to all of them about it. The problem is that we're going to lose what we have. We're going to lose the guys that are trained. We're going to end up having to have long hiring processes, and I'm being extreme, so take it, but it's going to be back in the days when there was a sheriff and a deputy working, and those 2 people are going to be training the new guys, because people are going to be in the jail working. We can't keep the jailers. It's pretty critical right now.
We have 3 more questions up here. Here's one right here.
Okie doke.
I actually have 2 questions. Tony, this is for you. So back in 20, you said that you checked on body camera prices. So I'm sitting here and I found all kinds of brands just sitting here. So I'm kind of curious as to why you.
My job as a detective, I was asked to look at and get quotes for the sheriff for body cameras. I did what was asked for me. I gave them to the sheriff. That's what I was asked to do.
My second question is, you just said that you have 2 positions, you're a detective and chief deputy, right? So now you could be doing that, but you haven't done that. So technically, you've got 2 positions that you don't really do one of them. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, I'm doing detective stuff.
Yeah, 2 positions, but you don't really fulfill one of them.
Correct. Right. Okay.
Was there a question in there for Mark? Or maybe this person?
I have a question for either of you. Educate me on the tragedy that happened to 4 young girls in Florida that died of the smoke inhalation. Is the fire department, is the sheriff's department, does anybody have the responsibility by law to pay about inspections? Oh, I'm sorry. Now I hear myself.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. All right. Regarding the 4 young girls that died in Florida of smoke inhalation, I have always wondered, is there not a law, is there not an agency that is charged with inspections for residences or rentals, or how can there not be some way to prevent something like that? I was told there was no smoke alarms. There was nothing to hang out the window, to go down the ladder. Help me.
Who are you asking? Who are you asking?
Either, both.
that is up to my knowledge, there's no state law that requires anybody to go inspect that. Do I hear the Florida Fire Department, do I hear the Delphi Fire Department doing those things? Absolutely. But to my knowledge, there's nothing law enforcement wise that I know of where we go in and check smoke detectors and things like that. It's education and helping people do it.
And that's just an example of how we as a population seem to be behind the problem. You know, we don't do something until after a problem. And I don't know that we've done anything since that problem. I wish there was something that was in the works, and then we're going to change subjects on it. Last night I was at the active threat training for the public. They have about 40 chairs set up and a nice microphone and presentation, video presentation, and two gentlemen, Mike Fincher, and Dwight Frost. They did a great presentation. There were two people present, myself and a gentleman from IPC. There's another presentation going on right now, same thing, in Florida. So I just want to say, you know, let's wake up. Let's look for what's out there. After there's an incident at one of our schools, we're going to say, oh, we should have had training. Things are offered, but if we don't take it, don't take the training, we're not doing our job.
Right. Those are even open to the public.
Ma'am, I'm gonna make a question out of that for you. What can the sheriff do to get inspections of rentals, fire inspections, that kind of thing? What can y'all do? Mark, you want to start?
Community engagement and education. The town of Flora does have ordinances. They don't have a code enforcement officer. So I think Delphi has the same or similar codes in regards to rental units and such, and they do have a code enforcement officer. I think he's part-time. However, much like what I've been doing through my campaign is community engagement. It's education. It's educating people. A lot of that falls on the cities and towns in the county, but I think as the lead law enforcement officer, community engagement, being visible in the communities and educating them on different things of that.
Tony, what do you think?
No, I absolutely agree with him. I think the biggest thing is education. It's like standing here in front of you guys and telling you we only have 2 officers on duty, and there's always people that say, wow. But it's about reaching out to those people, telling them what's going on, being transparent. Those are things that get people educated. The Florida Fire Department, the Delphi Fire Department, all the fire departments do a good job. They hand out free, free smoke alarms, things to that nature. But it has to be received by the people too.
There's one more question up here, Debbie.
Okay. I can't see it. Oh, there. Okay.
It's not really a question, but the communication that you keep talking about here, you have a councilman, I believe, here. I commend you for coming to this great debate. Do I see any other councilmen or commissioners in this audience? Why do we not have our councilmen and commissioners at this debate?
I just have to add, you guys elect these guys. They're elected. And so, you know, you need to make that, well, Tom, you need to make that a point during the election. Okay. Who, what? Lee? Okay.
I'm going to give you a scenario and then I'm going to ask you both a question, okay? Several months ago, got contacted by a retired West Lafayette police detective. Said he had someone that needed to be checked out that had been brought to his attention regarding the Delphi burglars. Wanted to know if I had anybody who could get a hold of them. I said, sure. I personally contacted the sheriff. He said, I know the guy, and he said, I'll have somebody contact him. 2 weeks later, this West Lafayette detective contacted me back, and he said, nobody's ever contacted me. So I made arrangements for him to meet with a Indiana State Police detective from Peru. How would you handle that? Would you just drop the ball and forget it? Or would you be responsible and send somebody or have somebody contact someone, especially a retired police officer that has somebody in mind that may or may not have been involved in the case?
Who do you want to start that?
Let's start with Mark.
That would be handled swiftly. I would have just simply done what is needed to be done. Made contact. If I didn't make contact myself, I would have had someone that I knew was going to do the same as I would, and they would have made contact with that individual that was called in.
Thank you. Tony?
Yeah, same thing. If I was a sheriff and I didn't immediately call it back, I would have a detective or someone that's involved with the case contact me back.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Donna? Oh, wait. Do you have somebody over here? Oh, wait, no, I had somebody over here.
You can talk loud, I can talk loud.
Yeah, good. Over a 15-year career in the state, I dealt with a lot of city and county agencies, sheriff's departments, police departments. Okay? I categorize them in two different ways. One, they were politicians, and two, they were public servants. What do you consider yourselves?
Who do you want that first to go to?
I'm not a politician. Being an independent is not an easy task, but I have the support that's necessary. I'm a cop's cop. Have always been, always will.
Tony?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not a politician. I'm a public servant. I do that within the clubs that I do on my off-duty time. Yeah, politics is not my thing.
What do you consider the sheriff's position?
As far as,
Is it a politician's position?
unfortunately, because I'm standing here because it is, but it's a for the people thing. It's it's the grassroots, behind the scenes people. It's you, it's everybody.
Mark?
The support that I have here tonight and that I have every day proves that I'm not a politician, because none of them would probably back me if I was a politician, because I can't be true to myself if I'm a politician. I'm here because they want me to be here. This is not fun standing on stage for 3 hours, but I'm here and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep the pace as long as I need to.
Okay, because we just extended this to 4 hours.
I need a lunch break.
Water back.
Who asked you?
Yes.
You stated, Mark, that you were going to create a culture of excellence. Can you explain the difference, both of you, between that and the Good Old Boy Network?
Maybe you want to start, please? Oh, wait, did you want Mark to start? Okay.
So I think, you guys all clap on the good old boy thing. There's nobody that wears a blue shirt that has any animosity towards Mark. I feel like I broke the good old boy nonsense. I'm not from here, and my family's not from here. I came here when I was 8 years old, and now I'm standing up here, won the primary for the Republican Party to be the sheriff of Carroll County. I broke that mold. My family's not here helping me. They live clear in southern Indiana. A culture of excellence is getting people to follow you, to do what it takes to make Carroll County safe, and excel at doing it. There's no good old boy. I'm not the good old boy.
So a culture of excellence that I bring up is just that. It is everybody on that department doing the best they can. They have integrity, and what I mean by integrity is doing the right thing every time, even though nobody's watching. That's what I will create. That's what I'll insist on having every single day, and that's what is a culture of excellence.
Tom.
The meeting she mentioned earlier about the active shooter, that was because of a grant from NIPSCO. NIPSCO covered that cost. I'm wondering if the sheriff-elect will start thinking outside of the financial box instead of always going to the county. How about the emergency management? How about if we have Homeland Security start funding us some of these funds we need to get things going? So we have to think the finances away from our traditional narrow-minded thought of just the county council. So there are other funding sources, and that active shooter class is one of them. We can activate more if we take advantage of the Homeland Security.
Got a question in there, Tom?
Yes, even the sheriff activated financial package that will take the burden off the taxpayer and shift it over to Homeland Security.
Mark, sir.
Yes, absolutely. For instance, active shooter, that doesn't need to cost anything other than the time that it takes to get the people together to make that training. We train very frequently. That's training with 130 plus. Doesn't cost us anything but the time it is to be on shift for that day. We didn't have to go through any funding sources to do that. We do that once every couple months. So that's free training that we involve the community in and do, and that's my plan as well. That's something that's needed, it's something that's wanted, and I want to make that happen for everyone.
So actually, the sheriff's department budget for training is almost nothing. We already do that. We use other funding for all of our training, and yet we still have great training. So that's been done. Our active shooter stuff has never cost us anything either. Our training budget, I wish I had the number here, but it's almost nothing. We don't get it from the county council. We get it from other funding sources already.
Is he talking about active shooter like at school or at business, or what are you talking about active shooter?
They just had a class the other day that she attended. 2 people showed up. They have more classes going on, but probably no one will show up. So I'm saying that the funding for those active shooters did not come from the county council.
Well, the reason I'm asking is that a school thing, at school, I taught Carroll, and we would have active shooters, but the teachers would get training through our IT guy, and we would have training there, which we would then pass on to kids. So I say, and I don't know, that would be that was we were just with that.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
I have one more. Since there's only 2 officers, if there's an active shooter here and there's no officers and one's clear on the other side of the county, are you guys? When I was working here, I had thought that they had started training teachers to carry. Is that something you guys train teachers to do? Because who's gonna come in here if you guys are clear across the county on a crash and there starts to be an active shooter here?
To my knowledge, no. That's never been a thing that I've known of. But as for who's gonna come here, the sheriff, the detectives, the off-duty guys, everybody's, I assure you, everybody's coming. Not just the guy across the county. We're all coming.
And how would it be with your administration, if you were the sheriff? Mark?
Well, that kind of call goes out, people hear that. You are going to get a response from every law enforcement officer, on duty, off duty, in county, out of county. That's something that we will all come to. I'd like to say something about Dr. Brodard's comment about thinking outside the box. We don't need to reinvent the wheel on some things, especially funding, because the Lafayette Police has created a Lafayette Foundation, a police foundation. Good citizens like you donate to that. It makes our plaques for our 20-year marks, our pins that we buy, things like that. Good people like everyone in here would donate to that to make that stuff happen. We could also use that for training.
Kevin?
Could both of you speak to your experience developing and managing a budget?
Okay. Tony, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I have a business management background, and I owned a small business. The proposed budget for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office next year is $2.2 million, I believe, approximately $2.2 million. Have I done one on that scale? No. Have I sat down with the current sheriff and talked to him and went over line by line what he was doing for next year? I have. And it's numbers. I'm a numbers guy. Traffic reconstruction, crash reconstruction is a lot of numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I believe I got a handle.
Mark?
So the budget, again, don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already there. There are tweaks that you can make along the way. Not all those work out because I think there was a reappropriation for several $1,000s. The budget is already in place. There will be things that we needed to add or detract. I was on the Florida Town Board. We looked over budgets. We approved them. So it's not rocket science.
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to opinion on nonviolent offenders being placed in jail immediately after they're arrested. Seems to me to help ease your overcrowding situation like that.
Did you hear her?
No, you need to say that again, please. But you can sit, you can remain seated, you can sit. Okay, thank you.
No, I said I'd like your opinion on nonviolent offenders being placed in jail immediately after their arrest. It seemed to me, if that was handled correctly, it would ease some of your crowding situation.
And by correctly, you mean not so much in jail?
I'm sorry?
By correctly handling it, you mean not so much in jail?
Well, how are they going to handle it? Do they think they should be placed in there immediately? It seems to me like it's other things to do.
Okay. Mark, start.
What I'm hearing is a nonviolent offender. There's several different categories, but a nonviolent offender is usually a book in, book out type situation. So they don't really spend other than to get a picture or get a court date in the jail.
Yeah, and there are people that don't end up in jail. For instance, marijuana. We just cite and release them. If we pulled you over and you had marijuana on you, you don't end up going to jail. But when you do go to jail, it's the judges that have set the bonds and things like that. So if the judges feel it's a local rule, if the judges feel that it's a nonviolent crime, they're the ones that can make it to where it's just sign in and sign out kind of booking thing. A lot of the community corrections has alleviated a lot of that. They have 66 people that have been, I called them today and asked, 66 people that are in a pre-trial sentence phase. So they've been released to community corrections. They've not necessarily posted a bond, maybe some of them have, but they get released from jail until they go to trial through community corrections, and that's 66 people that don't have to be in jail awaiting trial. So they're working on it.
Who else has a question? Oh, Jack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Actually, several. I probably don't need the mic either.
Yeah,
First thing is, everybody has said.
Yeah.
Okay.
People behind you can't hear you. Sorry.
Okay. First thing is, it's been said, both of you had said, grants that are out there. How, as sheriff, are you going to go about getting those grants? I know, body camera grants. I know Homeland Security has grants that are available for sheriff's departments, first responders, that type of thing. What are you going to do to go out there and pursue those grants?
Tony?
Once you find those grants, I don't think it's too difficult to file for them. Might be a little bit of legwork. They need some information about the background of the county and what number is this and what number is that. But I don't think it's that difficult to write the grant. They're pre-formatted. You just fill in the blank. So once you find them, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
How would you find them, Tony?
Well, there's all kinds of websites. People send us stuff currently that says there's this grant, there's this Criminal Justice Institute grant. They tell us.
Yes, those grants are available. I've seen them. There are also people that are in this room that are grant writers for their place of employment. They have some actual experience doing it to make it very, very easy. So there are people that will do that for you quickly.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay. Second question I've got for you is, right now, the council is battling to try and have a balanced budget and not raise taxes. How are you, or what is your approach? Do you want to see, Sheriff's Department needs a 20% increase for the deputies across the board, 20%. But are you willing to say that you need to get that when the other employees of the county maybe only get to see 1 or 2%, if that, to give you your 20%?
And your question is going to?
Both of them.
Pick one.
Why don't we start with Mark?
Okay, thank you.
So your question is if I would actually promote and be on board with a 20% increase for the deputies. Is that correct?
And the cutting of other county services. And how are you going to justify that to the community if you do it?
The justification would be easy. There is an issue that if we don't get these guys more pay, they might start leaving. It's not might, they will. A county without law enforcement is in bad shape. Now, I say the increase because they're doing a job that other areas are doing, like Florida, they'll fight for less money. They need to be able to provide for their family, make an honest living, and do what they need to do. So if there are other county employees that don't get that raise, they may have to wait a year. Now, 20%, that's a fairly stiff number to actually make happen. We can work on that and make it to where there is like equal ground on that. But I do feel that the deputies do need more pay.
Yeah, I agree with him. You have to say, communicate with everybody, not just the council, but they're the ones that decide this. Because it's not just the sheriff's department that's in trouble. It is several other departments. It is an EMT. I didn't know this, but I saw they were advertising for a position. An EMT in Carroll County makes $13 an hour or something like that. So there's a lot of big decisions that are going to have to be made. And whether it's courthouse people getting raises now, whether it's sheriff's deputies getting them now, or EMTs, there's a lot of decisions. I'm glad I'm not on the council.
Okay, one last question for you. I've been at the budget hearings, and I heard today, I think, I'm just going to go ahead and say, the sheriff came in today and spoke to the council. It was a public meeting, so I feel justified in saying this. He was saying, yeah, we need the money, but then the other statement he made was, depending on the outcome of this election, we're having a mass exodus from the county, from the sheriff's department. Now, that's the comment that got made to the council. I was sitting there when it was made. How would either of you trying to handle that or prevent it or whatever? I don't care. Tony, I guess
You mean to prevent a mass exodus?
Try.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The only thing that's gonna cause people to leave, it's not Mark Pinker. We don't have a problem with Mark Pinker. The thing that's gonna cause people to leave is it's Delphi City starting off at $9,000 more a year. It's Flora starting off at I don't know the exact number, but it's like $9,000 more a year. 20% that they're talking about, I don't even think gets us to that level. So
close.
Let's make this clear. Nobody's mass exiting if Mark Pinker wins. If the sheriff said that you'll have to talk to him, but I'm assuring you, if people leave, it's because they can't pay their bills. And they can no longer protect Carroll County adequately. If we're jailing, we can't protect you. That's why people will leave. It's not Mark Pinker. I get along with Mark Pinker. The guys get along with Mark Pinker. So I don't know. I can't speak for anybody but myself. But nobody's leaving over Mark Pinker.
He just threw his water at you.
Well, I know. Jumped out of the way.
Mark, you wanna?
Do I even need to respond to that?
I don't know. Do you have a need to respond to
I think
that?
somebody needs to take that up with the sheriff, if that's what it said. I don't know what I can say to that. I don't know what matters when I win the election. If they decide to choose to leave, I can't make them stay if that's their decision. But I think pay will help. If pay right now, because I can't speak for the sheriff, but right now they're looking at getting the pay raise. Last year they weren't looking at getting the pay raise. The year before that they weren't looking at getting the pay raise to this extent. Maybe people need to look into that a little bit further. If this is what it took to give these guys more pay, great, I'm succeeding. If this is what it takes to get them body cameras, I'm succeeding.
It doesn't make much sense as to what 20% pay increase, if that's what he's asking, has to do with. I'm still confused what that has to do with Mark Pinker.
I'm just saying, that was the comment, that depending on who wins the election, there may.
I will say, he clarified that though, and said it was about the 20% more than it was about anything else. So I don't agree with that interpretation of that, what the sheriff said, because it was asked, are you saying this? And he said, no, I'm not.
Okay, your questions. Everett, there's a microphone for you.
Everett's number. I would look at one of the greatest existential threats to Carroll County is the proliferation of gangs and drugs from the Lafayette and Kokomo area. You know, either one of you as sheriff, what would you do to help stem that? Because the last thing I want to see is our young children, you know, having to be administered Narcan to keep them alive or rushed to the hospital because they've overdosed. So, you know, prevention of the drug problem is a lot easier than the solution after it arrives. How would you address that as sheriff?
Mark, you guys.
Those things are here. They're here now. Our number one arrest for last year was alcohol related, and second was methamphetamine. So those things are here. We're having overdoses. Again, we have 2 officers. Would love to have dedicated people to be on a drug task force. Lafayette, Kokomo, but those things are here already. So we need enough people to deal with it. And there's teams standing by. we need to deal with it.
Mark?
So what we've got is 2 officers working. What we need is community engagement from the sheriff and his guys. Come out and talk to everyone. Get everybody on board with see something, say something. That's what we need. We need everybody in this room, not necessarily to wear a brown uniform, but to be the eyes that we can't be. That's what we need.
We have those.
How would you make that happen
Again,
as sheriff?
as I'm doing right now, meet and greets. I'm talking to people. I'm getting their insight. That's necessary. When I'm out there talking to people, people want to talk to these guys. They enjoy talking to the police. We are now in an area that this pendulum is swinging. We need to take a hold of that and get the community involvement. That's what we need.
More questions? Okay. So, I don't even think everybody knows me, no, I don't need one. Yeah, sure. My question is that I'm gonna change the focus a little bit. What about the inmates? What programs are gonna be available to the inmates to help them deal with the challenges that they have? I know that they can get court-appointed attorneys or whatever, but there was a gentleman at our house not too long ago who was involved with Gideon's for years in the jail. Back when my husband was sheriff, he was there. And because of COVID, they weren't allowed to come in again. But now that the COVID restrictions have been lifted, they're still not allowed to come into the jail. So I want to know what kind of programs can you give that's not going to cost taxpayers any money, that is available to you to help those inmates to make them maybe not violate their probations or whatever. Just keep circulating. And there was not everybody has money. I'm simple and push it up that way. I'm not afraid to push it up, but my husband saw grandfathers, fathers, kids, grandkids, the whole circuit of the family just recirculating through the jail. And there's got to be things that can be done that is, doesn't cost the taxpayers a lot of money or any money that can be brought into the jail, but it doesn't seem like any of it is being done. I mean, who would ever trust the Gideons to come in and speak to the inmates? What are your ideas on that? What can you do for them? And would you allow the Gideons to come back in to have Bible services and stuff with the inmates to try to help them in that aspect? Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I attend the Methodist church out here, right behind here. God needs to be in the jail.
Well, I got a question. You're the chief deputy. Why aren't you pushing that? Why aren't you doing something to get them back in there?
Again, I do detective stuff. If I don't, no, Sue, listen to me. Don't shake your head, please. Just give me a second to answer you. You want me to solve this case. You want me to solve this case. But then you also say, why aren't you pushing for this? Why aren't you? I'm in a no-win situation, so I do the best that I can.
And I'm not pointing this just directly at you.
We just did.
Why not? What I'm saying is, chief deputy, you can't just be a detective all the time. If you do all the chief deputy stuff, you need to be doing that part of it too. How is there enough time in the day for you to have family and to do both jobs?
Thank you. Amen.
I understand where
Amen.
you're coming from. But why can't you assign someone or take volunteers, somebody that you can verify that would be safe to come into the jail to give programs and to help teach the people? And there's all kinds of programs out there. I keep hearing grades. Well, there's this kind of programs out there too that nobody is even touching. And those inmates are sitting in there thinking about, okay, when I get out, what can I do to not get caught the next time? Okay.
Sue, I'm on board with that. Sue, I'm absolutely on board with that. Just because I'm chief deputy doesn't mean your husband was sheriff. That doesn't mean I can change what Toby thinks.
I agree with that.
Okay,
But
so I have a pretty high-profile case that I'm working on. I'm the only detective now I do the best that I can for everybody that I can. So to just throw that onto me, the sheriff makes the policies for his jail. I'm telling you that I will let those people in. That's the best answer that I can give you. I want to bring in mental health people. I want to do those things.
And I want to tell you, as a citizen that is retired, if you get sheriff, I'll be glad to volunteer and do whatever I can do to help with those programs. My dad was a minister. I understand how important all that is.
Absolutely. And this bottom line, I'm all for that stuff. I'm absolutely for it.
Tony, I would like to ask, and I'm sorry, Mark, we'll get to you. Would you continue that policy of the current administration of not allowing the chief deputy to do chief deputy jobs? I mean, you got a bump in pay when you took that job, right?
Ever so slightly.
Whatever, you know.
Like, we're talking ever so slightly.
But would you continue the policy of the current sheriff of not letting the chief deputy do chief deputy stuff?
Absolutely not. I don't know that is his policy. I've not seen that as a written policy, but it's spread the love when it comes with me. I need you to help me do this. I need you to help me do this. And not just put everything on one person. Absolutely.
Mark, you want to enter into this conversation? I kind of made it go sideways, but
I'll get into allowing different programs and different people into the jail. Mental Health America, NAMI, substance abuse, counselors, all need to be in there. God needs to be in the jail. What you have is when you have, I've been doing it long enough, I've seen parents, child, and now their children. So I'm probably 3 generations into dealing with the same people. So what we've got to do is stop recidivism. That's the biggest thing. In all those different places like Mental Health America and substance abuse counseling, and even the Bible with whatever minister or whatever they think is necessary for them at that time in jail. I'm hopeful that one person will pick something up and let them not be in jail again. And that might build into doing more with that. So it'll stop 2 problems. It might help the initial person that had a problem because they can't be the best father, the best mother that they can be. Maybe they will then, in turn, make it to where their children are in jail. So, and then you had another question about the chief deputy spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Delegation is key. One person can't do everything. And what you have to do is have someone in that spot that you fully trust and know what his morals and values and integrity stand for, and have him do your work with you. Not for you, but with you. So.
Okay, other questions? Becky? Okay. It's obvious we're short-staffed. Mark, you have said over and over that there's help there waiting to help us. Win, lose, or draw. I don't care which one wins. Are you still willing to help our county? And are you willing to accept help for our county? Mark, you go first.
I do help this county. Got a call, I'm trying to think when it was, from the chief of Florida, when they had, what they didn't know was a murder at the time, not too far from my house. I got that call, they were busy, they were short. I needed to go to Indianapolis. Yes, I do help this county. As far as other cases, other more serious cases, my department sent me here to work with Tony, with Kevin, with other agencies. So yes, that help is still there, no matter what. I know we've said that Tony has 2 hats. Imagine being a Lafayette police detective with a full caseload. I run anywhere from 25 to 30 cases on my dashboard every day, and more of them coming in every day.
But you were saying there were groups. There were groups waiting to help. Are those groups still willing to help if you're not sheriff?
Yes. The groups that I'm speaking about have been turned down for help.
Tony,
The groups have not been turned down. The groups that, if we're talking about drug task force, when we have things that need work in the drug task force realm, we contact state police. State police is working with Lafayette, Tippecanoe County. Regardless, I don't have a problem with Mark, Lafayette Police Department. I don't have a problem with Lafayette Police Department, Tippecanoe County. We're all good old boys. All of us are good old boys, and we will help in whatever way we need.
I'm not a good old boy.
And I know, and I'm fault for it. If there's something I need, and it deals with Lafayette, I call Mark. And the same thing, if something that happens in Carroll County he needs me, he calls me. That's how it works. I'm not an adversary with Mark Baker or Lafayette or anybody. We're all going to work together all the time. If we need something, Lafayette will send guys from their drug task. It's not adversarial. It really is not.
other questions? Oh, Becky, one, just, okay. On this, you said that help has been refused. Why?
I don't know what help he's talking about.
There have been agencies that have offered help to different cases. Won't get into which cases they are. TBI for one of them, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They have wanted to help. And they have.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Can I ask who has the authority or what you need to do to raise that levy? This has been a great debate, but it sounds to me like this county, and I'm one of the last people who want people with taxes, but it sounds like that levy is going to have to be lifted, and that levy was put in place, what, 30, 40 years ago? I don't know when, but someone, I don't know who in this room can do it, but somebody needs to get that levy taken care of or get it off there so these guys, whichever one of them gets elected, and other office holders can get some funding to pay these people in decent ways. I don't know. I've said here it's been a great debate, but my God, they can't do this with nothing. And I know there's grants available. I know there's Homeland Security grants out there, but somebody has got to take the bull by the horns in this county and wake up to the fact I don't want to pay more taxes. I know you don't want to pay more taxes either. These people have to have funding to do what they need to do to provide services to the citizens of this community. So I don't know, Debbie, who that is. And it's not a question of
I would love to talk to you,
okay.
because I kind of learned a lot about the budget. And again, I would say, I could explain some things to you, and again, I would say, these people are elected. You guys elect these people. So you probably want to become more educated about what their job is.
Can I ask a question then?
Oh, a question would be good. Question would be good.
I just want to make a statement, but I want to ask whichever question.
Yeah.
Whichever one of you gets elected, as you know, I'm a former sheriff. The jail was 2 years old when I became sheriff, and I thought Joe Hildebrand and outside contractors worked for me because they spent so much time in a 2-year-old jail taking care of maintenance issues that I had, okay? And that continued all the time I was sheriff. And that jail needs to be replaced. I'm concerned that the new jail is going to go down the same road that jail did. Sometimes building the cheapest is not the best way to go. And I attended the council meeting back in the spring, and there was a proposal that the dispatch center be taken out of the new jail and left to the existing jail. Is that correct?
That dispatch was going to stay where it is, but now we're back to there is space for it.
Okay.
But it's still staying, but there's space for it.
Okay. My question is, whichever one of you becomes sheriff, you're going to be both of the acting sheriffs, I assume. Are you going to make sure that jail is built to last the next 50 to 75 years and that it's done right? And building it on the county home
the best thing. Again, kind of like I said earlier, I'm not a maintenance guy. I'm not a builder. But the commissioners need to make sure to have those things in place, have contracts in place. Joe Hildebrand felt like one of your employees, but we need to stay on that. We need to keep up with the warranties and do all those things to keep that jail. I'm sure they said it back then, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not on wood. This jail is supposed to be able to be added on to. They're doing it in pods. So it doesn't do any good if the rest of it crumbles if they attach a pod to it and we can add more people. So it has to be kept up. It has to be. And that's down to like, actually they probably don't really have brass anymore. We have brass up here, that, polishing brass and things like that make a big difference.
Well, transport these prisoners, these inmates, to Cass County, to Clinton County, whatever wrong taken, that's a security issue, that's a safety issue, that's a liability issue, and it costs a heck of a lot of money. So that's my question. Whoever gets elected, please take control of that project and work with the council and commissioners and do it right. Please, I ask. I'm not speaking from experience.
So I agree. There should be a contract, a very tight contract on someone that is versed in large-scale buildings like that, not necessarily after it's built, but while it's being built, to make sure that things are done right, up to standards, so that obviously when it's built, that person has in-depth knowledge of the systems in it, so that they can care for it and continue that contract so that, one, it's built correctly, and two, that they know how to deal with it once it is built and how to maintain it.
Okay, anybody else with a question?
Right here, up here.
Here we go. Okay. All right, there has been some discussion this evening about active shooter situations. I'm currently a dispatcher, and the majority of the time work alone due to staffing shortages, which has been expressed tremendously tonight. Will you implement mandatory training like your yearly state mandated training? Also, you talk about accountability, and as a dispatcher, I may have multiple calls going on, and am often asked to do things that an officer can do on their own. Do you feel it is the dispatcher's job to call in the additional help, or will you have a set policy on how call-outs will occur? Mark, why don't you go? I'm at the answer.
So, yes, there will be training, robust training, so that there's no questions as to what your training is. It won't be state minimum mandates. It will be over and above for your benefit as well as the county's. As far as call-outs, are you discussing or have you discussed about who is to be called out or what your job should be in the event of a major incident?
So currently, if we have a call and a deputy is busy, often they'll say, call this person, call the sheriff, we'll call the sheriff. And then we'll call this person, we'll call this person, we'll call this person. I may have 3 other calls going on, such as, and this has happened, I'm giving someone CPR on the phone, and I'm by myself. I don't have the ability to put that caller on hold to make 4 other calls to get someone else to come out and help a solo deputy because we're short on staff.
There won't be a call tree. You'll call me. I'll set the appropriate manpower for that particular incident. There won't be a call tree. You'll call one person.
Tony, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think part of the question is calling the sheriff and then having to call somebody else after that. Call me, we'll take care of calling whoever it is that we need to call. Not we, I mean me.
But at what point does that go to the officer instead of they are dealing with one call, that call that I have been sent to, where I have 3 or 4 calls going on? At what point does the accountability fall back on to that officer to do their job and not dispatch doing their job for them?
So your question is, have the officer call the sheriff?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We should make that happen. We should make that happen. Absolutely. I I don't know that I've ever asked you or dispatch in general to call somebody else to call them out. You just make the call.
Okay, I have a question up here, or a statement, sorry.
Hi, I'm Dale Seward. Several years ago, probably about 20 years ago, there was a program implemented where there was dual TV monitors, one in Superior Court and one in the jail. And that may have been before your time, Tony. I don't know exactly when it happened. But for some reason, this was implemented under Curtis Fouts when he was the judge of Superior Court. And all of a sudden, those monitors disappeared out of the courtroom. I can't say whether they did out of the jail or not, but they were removed for some reason. And we've talked a lot tonight about staffing issues. To me, that was a great idea because you could do the preliminary hearing for court and not have to take staff to move the person from court to the courthouse, or from jail to the courthouse. So would you be in favor of implementing a program like that to save on using staff members to get people from the jail to the courtroom if they could just do it over monitors? Or has that been illegal now and it can't be done? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah,
No, that was, I don't know why they're not doing that now. There was a jail meeting where we found out for sure all that's going to be capable in the new jail, video visitation, so you don't have to just go get the inmate, clear up, just take the time to take somebody up to visit, be video visits. So there's brand new monitoring systems in Superior Court. So those capabilities are there. I don't know why it's not happening, if there's something wrong with it on the jail side, because I've transported people to court, and attorneys are on the TV, they're making their presence in over video. They don't, to my knowledge, I've not seen that in circuit court at all, but the capability is there, and it's going to be really enhanced in the new jail.
So Dale, better than that is with this new jail, we make a spot or have a spot allocated for the judges to come there. So there's no transport, there's no video monitoring. I see that happen at the Tippecanoe County Jail quite a bit. The judges go to court for their initial hearings. No transport, there's no glitches in electronics. It's face to face. However, the judges are there with them.
Okay, I think it's time for wrap-ups. Tony, do you want to start? Please, thank you.
So I think that one of the questions earlier was about whether or not we're a politician or a public servant. In my conclusion notes right here, one of the first sentences, when I decided to run for sheriff, one of the biggest hurdles I knew I was going to have is that I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. I'm no different than anyone in this room, other than I feel like I've excelled in my law enforcement career, and I feel like I'm the best choice for the next Carroll County Sheriff. That's it.
My roots are deep in this community, county. They'll be even deeper, because I have no plans on going anywhere. This is all I know. This county is all I know. I've only lived here for 49 years, but I hope I get another 49. With my training, skill, and ability, not only do I have the training, but I use it on a daily basis. The skill comes with using the training on a daily basis. Polygraph examiner for criminal cases for a number of years. I have the training that we don't have to spend thousands of dollars from this county because I've already got it. I have training that's no longer available from the FBI, from the Secret Service. I've been in Hoover, Alabama to do some amazing things with computers. The team of people that I have worked with for a number of years, fully back. Tony says, deputies back in. I would fill this room with supporters from my department and know that. I have trained the trainers that have trained these guys. For that reason, I'm your independent candidate for sheriff. Make sure that when you vote, you don't have to choose. That choice will be taken from you if you choose a party. Go through and look for the best candidate. And when you do that, you're going to find me as your independent candidate. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your interaction with the candidates and the information that you got out of them and what you gave. So be careful when you go home. It's almost 9 o'clock. We never thought it would really go this long, but you guys were good. You were good. Thank you so much, and thank you to the candidates.
We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origins we share, we pledge the loyalty of faithful friends. United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do, for we dare not meet a powerful challenge at odds and split asunder. To those new states whom we welcome to the ranks of the free, we pledge our word that one form of colonial control shall not have passed away, merely to be replaced by a far more iron tyranny. We shall not always expect to find them supporting our view, but we shall always hope to find them strongly supporting their own freedom, and to remember that in the past those who foolishly sought power by riding the back of the tiger ended up inside. To those people in the huts and villages of half the globe struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help them help themselves. For whatever period is required, not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. To our sister republics south of our border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds, in a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. But this peaceful revolution of hope cannot become the prey of hostile powers. Let all our neighbors know that we shall join with them to oppose aggression or subversion anywhere in the Americas. And let every other power know that this hemisphere intends to remain the master of its own house. To that World Assembly of Sovereign States, the United Nations, our last best hope, in an age where the instruments of war have far outpaced the instruments of peace, we renew our pledge of support to prevent it from becoming merely a forum for invective, to strengthen its shield of the new and the weak, and to enlarge the area in which its writ may run. Finally, to those nations who would make themselves our adversary, we offer not a pledge, but a request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace. Before the dark powers of destruction, unleashed by science, engulf all humanity in planned or accidental self-destruction, we dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed. But neither can two great and powerful groups of nations take comfort from our present course, both sides overburdened by the cost of modern weapons, both rightly alarmed by the steady spread of the deadly atom, yet both racing to alter that uncertain balance of terror that stays the hand of mankind's final war. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us, instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. Let both sides, for the first time, formulate serious and precise proposals for the inspection and control of arms, and bring the absolute power to destroy other nations under the absolute control of all nations. Let both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors. Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides unite to heed in all corners of the earth the command of Isaiah to undo the heavy burdens and let the oppressed go free. And if a beachhead of cooperation may push back the jungle of suspicion, let both sides join in creating a new endeavor. Not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own. you.